Hey Betsy, how you doing? Here, gonna make the pasta for you. I'm gonna quickly make the gluten-free pasta. I sent you the recipe. It's 2 cups of almond flour. I don't think I have enough, so I'm gonna use some of gluten-free regular flour. So first is the 2 cups almond flour. Tapioca, 1/4 of a cup, 1/4 of a cup, and 2 tablespoons, it said. 2 tablespoons. And then the rice flour, it said 1/4 of a cup. The xanthium gum, it said 2 teaspoons. This stuff is so hard to clean. So, 2 teaspoons?
Yeah.
But that stuff really makes it stick. Okay, then you put that, mix that all up in there. A little bit of salt. A little bit of salt. First you mix that all up. This is all being made with love. In a mess. Then you make a well in the middle. You put in the 4 eggs. 1, 2, 3. I learned how to do that in high school. 4. And a couple of tablespoons of olive oil. Betsy, you have to watch the YouTube channel called Pasta Grannies, where old women like 90 years old are still making their own pasta in their kitchens in little villages around Italy. It's so beautiful, you have to see it. Okay, and then you just slowly stir that all up. You know, slowly. At a certain point, you just use your hands to get it all in there. I keep my hands a little dry with the flour so it doesn't stick so bad. Really making a mess. Some people just do it on a wooden table, you know, they just go like that and do the whole thing on the table. So I'm kneading it, getting everything in there. Yeah, this seems like a good, not too wet. Get all the flour. There. Okay, so that little ball like that. And I'm gonna put some plastic around it. See, like that, just put it in a piece of plastic. And while we're letting that sit for 10 minutes, I'll show you how to set up the machine. Okay, so you have to find a surface that it can hook onto, you know, my big kitchen table, it's too big, it doesn't work. Anyways, so you put this here, and you lock it in. There, so it's nice and locked. And then this is the extra part. This slides in here. Yeah. Yeah, great. Yeah, so that's in there, and you see here on this one here, this is for fettuccine, and this is for the spaghetti. And they have different ones that you can put on, but whatever one you have, you probably have two. And then this is the crank. And this is the weird thing that we're gonna have to change. You can't really see the numbers, I can barely see it, but that's number 1. And then after I put the dough through 2 times the first time, I'll explain later, then you switch to 2, then to 3, then to 4, then to 5. So you're constantly, you pull and turn. That's how ours is. I think we just go up to 6. That's how thin or how thick the pasta will be. Okay, so another thing you can do, which is fun, instead of making the pasta, you can make small little pastas that you can use with like pasta fagioli. And these are just small little shapes. So you take the tapioca and use that as a dusting place. And get your hands nice and floury. And you take a very small piece, like peanut size. You always keep the rest of the thing underneath plastic so it doesn't dry out. So I just take a little piece and I take the little ball, a little chunk, and I go like this. And there you have these little pasta shapes like that. Or you can really get right in the middle and play around and make whatever kind of shapes you want. You can make a little thing and you could cross and squish it together, and there you have a little ribbon. Or you can do anything. You take a little piece and someone wants to try to make the letter U. So you make a little U shape, or you can just make little balls, little ones, little fat balls. Depends on what. Or you could do all different kinds. You try to have the same size of shape so that it cooks the same amount. But for me, if you want to go fast, it's just a little pinch and then dunk, and little pinch, and little pinch, and so there are these. See, that one's too small. And then you put them in a pan with more tapioca, just a little bit. It's a little bit too much, I put. And those are just gonna go in there, and they'll dry for like an hour or 5 hours or the next day, and then you cook them in water for like 2-3 minutes and it's done. So that's another way to make, how to use the dough. But we're gonna make regular pasta. So I put tapioca down near the surface because I'm gonna need a lot actually. So I put a bunch on the surface. I know, it's messy, you'll clean later. So then I take a little piece, smaller better. That might even be too big. I take that little palm-sized bit and I put it into, it's hooked up to number 1, and I put it through the mill very slowly. It's coming out that side. And I fold it again, and I do that a couple of times. And I always put flour on it in between every time. That's the pain. So you want to try to get a nice smooth, not a smooth, but a good shape, like a good rectangle shape to start with. A kind of even shape. So I'm folding it. That seems like an even shape to me. So I keep folding it to try to make a good square shape so that the ribbons are even length eventually. So I'll come over here. And now I'm gonna put more on, and I switch to number 2. And I put it in, And I crank super slow, and it's always good when maybe even there's someone else there to help get it through. It still feels dry. It still feels dry, and so I don't need any tapioca yet. Switch to number 3. And the same thing. Oh, wrong way. Thank you. You're so good. You can do 2 things at once. Number 3. It feels like it's getting wet. A little bit more flour. It's very delicate, this. Normal pasta is not so delicate. You can be rougher with it. Now we're on 4. Hold that. Now we switch to 5. You can never put too much of that tapioca on there to make sure it's not gonna get stuck. Sometimes these things get wet too, and you want to put some flour inside there as well. So this is the last one. We're going to 6 only. This is the last one, the most delicate one because it's the thinnest. Very slow, very slow. That last one super slow. There, now I have a piece of material and I can kind of see light through it. So that's thin enough for me. Then I switch this and I'm going to use the fettuccine, not the spaghetti, and I put the cranker in there. And then from here, I slide it in and start cranking. And on the other side, you don't even have to catch it, it'll form a little ball. I'm holding the pasta sheet till the end. And now here's the beautiful pasta. And now I put it in my drying sheet. And I go do the next one. A woman's work is never done. Let's see, we've done like half, and the machine seems to be getting wet. So I put the rolls actually. So those also want to stay dry, I think. That they keep those a little bit dry. And also this, the first time, instead of smashing it in as a ball, I think that's also where it's getting, then I'm flattening it out already a little bit in my own hands. I think that's better to make a good shape. And then to put that, number 1, and put that through. Yeah. And these first ones put a good amount on there. Again, only on number 1 do I do it a bunch of times. Number 2, 3, 4, 5, I only need to do it once. Good. Keep it dry. The tapioca just falls off in the water, so it's not really so much going into the, I don't know how true that is. What is this, number 2? This is going well, because the last time I did it, I used a different flour mix, and it was so goddamn wet. It took like, it was so delicate. I would do that and all the flour would break. The tide would break. But this seems like a good mix. Last one is number 6. That broke off. A piece broke off, but I still have a good amount. That you can do fast. And mix the flour on. You have, that's probably enough for this pan. Don't you think, Alessandro? Put the rest in the next pan.
Yeah.
So, or you could lay it out on a table, depends on how big your table is. It just needs to sit in the flour. One more time.
Okay, that's it. And when we eventually cook it, we'll probably film and show you us throwing it in the water. So that's how I do gluten-free pasta, Betsy. Love you and have fun. Hey, Betsy. So we actually ended up letting the pasta rest for like a whole day. And so you can see it dried out a little bit. Now we're gonna pop it in the water and put our sardine pasta mix on top of it. Yum, yum. But it only takes like 2-3 minutes to cook. You just have to test. Bye. See, it holds together well. I think number 6 is a good thing. Yeah, it sticks together well. It's nice and thick. It tastes like pasta to me.